This is a Brooklyn-bound A express train. The next stop is Dyckman Street. This is a 125th Street bound A express train. The next stop is 59th Street, Columbus Circle. This is a Coney Island bound A train via the F line. The next and last stop is Coney Island, Stillwell Avenue.
This is a Manhattan-bound B express train. The next stop is Grand Street. This is a Manhattan-bound B skip-stop train. The next stop is Sheepshead Bay. This is a Ditmars Boulevard-bound B train via the N line. The next stop is Broadway. This is a 145th Street-bound B train. The next stop is 81st Street, the Museum of Natural History. This is a 179th Street-bound B train via the F line. The next stop is 21st Street, Queensbridge.
This is a Brooklyn-bound C local train. The next stop is 163rd Street, Amsterdam Avenue. This is a Euclid Avenue-bound C local train. The next stop is Hoyt, Schermerhorn Streets. This is a Manhattan-bound C local train. The next stop is Shepherd Avenue. This is a 168th Street-bound C local train. The next and last stop is 168th Street. This is a Bronx-bound C train via the D line. The next stop is 161st Street, Yankee Stadium. This is a 205th Street-bound C train via the D line. The next and last stop is Norwood, 205th Street. This is a Rockaway Park-bound C train via the A line. The next stop is Broad Channel. This is a Lefferts Boulevard-bound C train via the A line. The next and last stop is Ozone Park, Lefferts Boulevard.
This is a Manhattan-bound D express train. The next stop is Bedford Park Boulevard. This is a Bronx-bound D express train. The next stop is 59th Street, Columbus Circle. This is a Norwood 205th Street-bound D local train. The next stop is 161st Street, Yankee Stadium. This is a Washington Heights 168th Street-bound D express train. The next stop is 145th Street. This is a Washington Heights 168th Street-bound D train via the A line. The next and last stop is
168th Street.
This is a Queens-bound D train via the F line. The next stop is Roosevelt Island. This is a Forest Hills 71st Avenue-bound D train via the F local line. The next stop is Jackson Heights, Roosevelt Avenue. This is a Queens-bound D train via the A line. The next stop is Grant Avenue. This is a Far Rockaway Mott Avenue-bound D train via the A line. The next stop is Beach 67th Street. This is a Times Square 42nd Street-bound D train via the Q line. The next stop is 14th Street, Union Square. This is a Queens-bound E local train. The next stop is West 4th Street. This is a Queens-bound E express train. The next stop is 5th Avenue, 53rd Street. This is a Jamaica Center-bound E train. The next and last stop is Jamaica Center. This is a Jamaica Center-bound E express train. The next stop is Queens Plaza. This is a 179th Street-bound E express train. The next stop is Queens Plaza. This is a Manhattan-bound E express train. The next stop is Lexington Avenue, 53rd Street. This is a 2nd Avenue bound E local train. The next stop is 7th Avenue, 53rd Street. This is a Manhattan-bound E local train. The next stop is Briarwood Van Wyck Boulevard. This is the 34th Street Herald Square bound E train via the F line. The next and last stop is 34th Street Herald Square. This is a Queens bound E train via the F line. The next stop is 57th Street.
This is a Church Avenue bound F local train. The next stop is Avenue N. This is a Coney Island, Stillwell Avenue bound F express train. The next stop is 4th Avenue, 9th Street. This is a Delancey Street bound F local train. The next and last stop is Delancey Street, Essex Street. This is a Kings Highway bound F local train. The next and last stop is Kings Highway.
This is a Euclid Avenue bound F train via the A line.
The next stop is Nostrand Avenue. This is a Brooklyn-bound F train via the B line. The next stop is Grand Street. This is a Brooklyn-bound F local train via the C line. The next stop is Fulton Street. This is a Euclid Avenue-bound F train via the C line. The next stop is Broadway Junction. This is a Manhattan-bound F train via the C line. The next stop is Clinton, Washington Avenues.
This is a Queens-bound F train via the C line.
The next stop is Canal Street. This is a Manhattan-bound F train via the D local line. The next stop is Bay Parkway.
This is a Manhattan-bound F train via the D line.
The next stop is Grand Street.
This is a Queens-bound F train via the D line.
The next stop is West 4th Street, Washington Square. This is a Manhattan-bound F train via the E line. The next stop is Court Square, 23rd Street. This is a Brooklyn-bound F train via the E line. The next stop is 50th Street. This is a Queens-bound F train via the E line. The next stop is Lexington Avenue, 53rd Street.
This is a Jamaica 179th Street bound F train via the E line.
The next stop is Queens Plaza.
This is a Coney Island Stillwell Avenue bound F train via the Q line.
The next stop is
Atlantic Avenue, Pacific Street. This is a Forest Hills 71st Avenue bound G local train. The next stop is Woodhaven Boulevard. This is a Queens-bound J skip stop train. The next stop is Myrtle Avenue, Broadway. This is a Jamaica Center-bound J skip stop train. The next stop is Sutphin Boulevard, JFK Airport. This is a Jamaica Center-bound J local train. The next and last stop is Jamaica Center, Parsons Archer. This is a Broadway Junction-bound L train. The next and last stop is Broadway Junction. This is a Myrtle Wyckoff Avenue-bound L train. The next stop is Montrose Avenue. This is a Rockaway Parkway-bound L train. The next stop is Bushwick Avenue, Aberdeen Street. This is a Manhattan-bound L train. The next stop is DeKalb Avenue. This is an 8th Avenue-bound L train. The next stop is 6th Avenue. This is a Queens-bound M Express train. The next stop is Myrtle Avenue, Wyckoff Avenue. This is a 57th Street, 6th Avenue bound M local train. The next and last stop is
57th Street.
This is a Queens-bound M train via the F line. The next stop is
Roosevelt Island.
This is a Myrtle Avenue-bound M shuttle train. The next and last stop is Myrtle Avenue, Broadway. This is a Euclid Avenue-bound M train via the F line. The next stop is
Hoyt, Schermerhorn Streets.
This is a Euclid Avenue-bound M train via the C line. The next stop is
Liberty Avenue.
This is a 34th Street, Herald Square-bound N local train. The next stop is Times Square, 42nd Street. This is a Coney Island-bound N express train. The next stop is 59th Street. This is a Ditmars Boulevard-bound N express train. The next stop is Astoria Boulevard. This is a Brooklyn-bound N express train. The next stop is 57th Street, 7th Avenue. This is a Manhattan-bound N express train. The next stop is 59th Street. This is a Coney Island-bound N local train. The next stop is 86th.
Stand clear.
This is a Brooklyn-bound N local train. The next stop is 49th Street. This is a Manhattan-bound N local train. The next stop is 9th Street. This is a Queens-bound N local train. The next stop is 28th Street. This is a Coney Island-bound N train via the D line. The next stop is 25th Avenue. This is a Manhattan-bound N train via the D line. The next stop is 62nd Street. This is a Manhattan-bound N train
Via the Q line.
The next stop is Kings Highway.
This is a Whitehall Street bound Q train.
The next and last stop is Whitehall Street. This is a Manhattan-bound Q train. The next stop is Canal Street. This is a 57th Street, 7th Avenue bound Q express train. The next and last stop is 57th Street, 7th Avenue. This is a 57th Street, 7th Avenue bound Q local train. The next stop is 14th Street, Union Square. This is a Times Square, 42nd Street bound Q express train. The next stop is 34th Street, Herald Square. This is a Queens-bound Q express train. The next stop is 14th Street, Union Square. This is a Brooklyn-bound Q express train. The next stop is 5th Avenue, 59th Street. This is a Coney Island-bound Q express train. The next stop is Ocean Parkway. This is a Manhattan-bound Q express train. The next stop is Sheepshead Bay. This is an Astoria Ditmars Boulevard-bound Q express train. The next and last stop is Astoria Ditmars Boulevard. This is a Queens-bound Q local train. The next stop is 8th Street, NYU. This is a Prospect Park-bound Q local train. The next stop is Newkirk Avenue. This is a Brighton Beach-bound Q local train. The next stop is Avenue U. This is an Astoria Ditmars Boulevard-bound Q local train. The next stop is Astoria Boulevard. This is a Brighton Beach-bound Q Express train. The next and last stop is Brighton Beach. The Brooklyn-bound Q train via the R line. The next stop is Court Street. This is a 57th Street, 7th Avenue bound Q train via the R line. The next stop is Rector Street. This is a Manhattan-bound Q train via the R line. The next stop is
J Street Metrotech.
This is a Queens-bound Q train via the F line.
The next stop is Roosevelt Island.
This is a Queens-bound Q train via the R line.
The next stop is Fifth Avenue, 59th Street. This is a 21st Street Queensbridge-bound Q train. The next and last stop is 21st Street, Queensbridge. This is a 72nd Street, 2nd Avenue bound Q train via the 2nd Avenue line. The next and last stop is 72nd Street. This is a Forest Hill 71st Avenue bound Q train via the F line. The next stop is 36th Street.
This is a Franklin Avenue bound shuttle train. The next stop is Botanic Garden. This is a Franklin Avenue bound shuttle train. The next stop is Park Place. This is a Euclid Avenue bound shuttle train. The next stop is Beach 60th Street.
This is a Manhattan-bound V local train. The next stop is 67th Avenue. This is a Coney Island, Stillwell Avenue-bound V train via the F local line. The next and last stop is Coney Island. This is a Manhattan-bound W train via the N line. The next stop is Astoria Boulevard. This is a 95th Street-bound W train via the R line. The next stop is 9th Street. This is a Broad Street-bound Z local train. The next and last stop is Broad Street. This is a Brooklyn-bound Z skip stop train. The next stop is Chambers Street. This is a Queens-bound Z skip stop train. The next stop is Norwood Avenue. This is a Jamaica Center-bound Z skip stop train. The next stop is Woodhaven Boulevard.